Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Jason. I am the creator of the mod I Am Legion Reborn for Dying Light 2, and I'm here to showcase the latest update, 0.8. And I am happy to say that I have quite the extensive update this time. So 1.7 saw the update to our human AI systems. And I got a lot of feedback from you guys, and I went and instead of doing the alpha and beta versions, I was already working towards 1.8 from the get-go with the configuration update, and so I wanted to go ahead and push forward and try to integrate some of the feedback that you guys provided me. Thank you guys so much for all your continued feedback and updates, and I hope you enjoy the result of a lot of that feedback. So I'm going to start going through this as fast as possible. This is going to be quite a lengthy conversation, but I have quite a few updates here. So first and foremost, we're going to be talking about the new enemy AI. So for the Ultimate Survivor version, so I have removed some of this for the Casual Survivor. So we are starting to have that split between the Ultimate Survivor and the actual Casual Survivor. For the Ultimate Survivor, I have updated our Banshee, our Goon, our Screamer, and our Spitter. So you can expect new types of behaviors from each one of those characters, and I'm going to start by showcasing those and talking about each one of those as we start to play here. So luckily I've got a Banshee spawning down below me here, and I wanted to kind of quickly explain what the focus was for this AI that I was looking at. So essentially I wanted to turn this AI into the hunter from from Left 4 Dead, and she was doing this behavior where she was kind of spending a lot of time just kind of idling around, and that didn't make a lot of sense to me, and so I wanted to try to make her more dangerous and someone that needs to be watched out for. So what I did is rewrote her AI to where she will now go to high ground and then attack. So her primary purpose, if she can't jump off the heads and perform attacks on the ground, is to get to that high ground and keep attacking you. So as you can see there, she is a much more dangerous enemy and will go as high as the tallest buildings and actually follow you along those buildings and try to attack down at you. And so this type of playstyle makes it to where you have to move out of her way and you have to dodge her attacks and also use something like ranged weapons to take her down if she's sticking to the rooftops. This kind of playstyle, I hope, will make it more likely that you're going to continue to get out of her way and continue to progress through the city, rather than some of the more boring interactions that I've had with that Banshee so far. Please look forward to your guys' feedback on that. Next, I'm going to be looking at the Screamer. So let's see if we can find a Screamer. What I've done is updated their code, so there is still the glitch Screamer, so I have still been unable to remove them from the system. I still believe that this is due to a vanilla bug and that they are spawning into the map due to some vanilla bug issue. I'm going to continue to look at that, but I know that a lot of the reports that I've been getting are related to this to the Screamer bug. So please bear in mind that I am aware of this issue, and I'll continue to look into this as updates come out. But I do believe that this is a vanilla bug at this time, and hopefully we can find a solution in the future. So you can see here I've gotten the attention of that howler, and you can see they are following me across the map. So we have howlers coming in while I'm fighting, and the idea here is that now no longer will they be just down on the street and you don't have to care about them on the rooftops. They'll hear you fighting and they'll come investigate. So they're kind of more senseless in the sense that they probably won't come attack you like the other zombies, but what they will do is they will investigate the noise of what is going on in that area, and the result of that is the closer they get, the more they hear, the more likely they are to scream. So if you're in the middle of a fight and you're currently trying to take out as many zombies as you can, you now have to worry that they will come up off the ground and send that alert. And once that alert happens, you know that the map is going to come flooding down on you. Next, I'm going to look at the spitter. So these are the most common enemies you can find in my mod now. So I tried to reduce the amount of screamers. I did want to speak very quickly about a glitch that is currently in the game. So currently, if you are seeing only screamers, if you're only seeing only if you're not having howlers show up in your map, and that's a problem. I'm starting to get feedback that more people's save games are having issues, or other mods that they're also trying to install are causing these systems to not work properly. So the idea is that you want to make sure that you're not using any additional mods like more zombies. I'm now using the spawn systems to their utmost, and so if you start using the other spawn mods, it will break a lot of those systems. So currently, you should have a large amount of zombies by default, and if you would like more, I have configuration files you can use to increase the number of spawns. All of that's set up now with configuration files, and I will be recording a video shortly showing off some of the new features that I've created in the latest version of that configuration file. So let's take a look around and try to find a spitter. I have quite a lot of activity behind me, including a volatile over there somewhere. But I want to see if I can... So here's our new spitter. As you can see, they are currently running towards me and firing. The idea behind the new spitter is that they will pursue you across the map. And they will constantly be trying to get a shot at you. So you no longer have the ability to just go up on the rooftops and look down at them and distance them without actually trying to watch out for them inside the world. So they will chase you down and they will try to get in a hit. And so standing up on ledges and trying to avoid enemies by just climbing won't be as easy anymore with these new variants of spitter. They will try to also push you, so if they get up on the rooftops, they can actually shove you off the roof. Next, we want to look at the Goon. So the Goon is a little less likely to find at night, so I'm going to do what I can here to try to find a Goon. I believe I saw one over this way earlier, but this is probably one of my favorite updates beyond the Banshee. So my biggest problem with the Goon was that the Goon, there's a volatile. Just want to make sure we avoid that guy. One of the biggest issues I had with the Goon is that they were fairly easy to avoid. They pretty much were in big open areas, and then once you got away from that open area, they were no longer a threat. I worked really hard to try to change this paradigm to make them definitely more of a threat, but you're about to see how. So here is our new Goon. So they cannot climb, but what they can do is they will now be similar to the Chargers, except they will not only sprint towards you, but they have also had lowered cooldown rates for their attack, and so as they get close, they will continuously try to attack the player and the nearby zombies. So you need to try to avoid areas with these guys, or at least get up high. From my testing, you don't want to be anywhere near these guys when they hit, as they can actually do a very high upwards strike, and so because of that, they become very challenging when you're in lower areas. I've also made it possible for these guys to spawn on the insides of buildings, so prepare to run into these guys on occasion. Hopefully that's a fun part of the experience. So one of the other features that I looked at turning off was the auto aim system. So I personally was not ever really a fan of the auto aim system that was in the game. And so I looked into removing this system, but it is part of the configuration files. So if I can find a spear here, there's a brick. That's not good. Oh. I might have just made a mistake. So the biter health, or the biter damage, has also been updated. So the idea is that if you get caught by a biter, you have to press E immediately to get them off of you. If you are not actively working to get the biters off of you, they will inflict a massive amount of damage now. So if they do have the opportunity to bite you, it's going to be almost 70% or more of your health. So that is also part of the configuration file, so you are able to make those changes to how much of the health you want affected by the biter. But I personally have enjoyed playing through my testing at 70% because it doesn't immediately kill you, but it does put you at a serious disadvantage for being able to recover from those hits. It also makes it very easy for these guys to catch you. So as you're running through the enemies here, you are more likely to get grabbed. I've also set the grab probability inside the config file, so you also have the ability to turn down the grab probability, and that is always been a part of the player settings. But one of the things to just keep an eye out for if you are having a difficult time playing the game due to this grab mechanic. I personally am a big fan of it now because it allows us to actually have to try really hard not to get grabbed, and if we do get grabbed, to get them off of us as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to Dawn. It'll be a little bit easier to showcase the rest of these features. So one of the other features I looked at was removing this concept of zombies drowning. I discovered this the other day on a playthrough, and basically I could clear hordes fairly easily by just leading them into water. So I did remove that mechanic, so you cannot just remove zombies by leading them into pools of water. I thought that was tuned a little bit too high for my liking, and so I just thought it would be a little bit creepier if zombies were down in the water for you to have to contend with that and find out if they actually are in that water or not. Them just automatically dying seems a little bit too much of an easy out. So I believe there's a couple of spears. I'm looking for throwables here. So one of the things that I have upgraded is the hit boxes for the bow and arrow and throwing knives, and then also spears. So I'm playing at a low level game right now, and so I wanted to try to use low level items here to demo these different weapons, and it looks like from my playthrough it will actually save which spears have been used or not. So that is a fun detail that I didn't actually know that the game did. So I'm going to look around really quickly to see if I can find any spears here. But essentially the concept is that currently they have this idea that if you have a throwable weapon, that basically you end up with that little white circle that allows you to pretty much auto aim directly at an enemy. I personally was not a fan of this system. I thought that this made it a little bit too likely that you could just randomly grab a spear and inflict a large amount of damage. And so that system has now been updated to where if you do grab a throwable weapon, you have to take the time to throw the weapon properly. And let's see if we can find a willing participant here. So you can see that was an example of it hitting. If I throw it by his head, you can see that it is no longer doing that auto aim feature of hitboxing directly to that enemy, even if you did greatly miss that character. So I'm going to head over to the water area now and show you the new effect for the water. Previously, if I did something as simple as jumping into this water while I had a large number of enemies chasing me, and it appears that this is still glitched. The other day I thought I had this feature fixed, so this is something I'll continue to look at. But if you want to clear an area, currently all you need to do is jump in the water. But with future updates, I will continue to try to make sure that's turned off. Another feature that has been updated is the map spawning. So I did look more into the map spawning and continue to look at ways that other modders have not touched certain systems with the spawns. I'm continuing to update our AI present pull list to make this world more challenging, more diverse, so that you're not fighting the same zombie over and over again, and you have to actually care and be concerned about what's out there in the world. But also with that, there is the concept of map details that are fed into the spawning system. So I've increased the actual map detail for some of the spawning systems. What this resulted in is better spawns inside of different environments. And so you will have increased spawns in certain environments, such as hallways and interiors. And that's worked out pretty well for me so far, but please make sure to give me your feedback. Let me know what you're running into, and I look forward to hearing if that system's working better for you guys. In addition to those systems, I've also fixed a bug with the chase system. So before, as you've seen already, there were a almost back to vanilla chase level in the previous version of the mod. This was a simple bug that I have updated since. So that should have gone away at this point. So as you saw earlier, if you go into chase mode, that is almost immediately overwhelming. And something that is also now part of the config, so that you can set those values for you, and if you're playing co-op, so that way it can be set for the playstyle that you guys want. Also, the noise detection. So one of the features that I worked on earlier was this concept of noise for the sleeping dead. So they are inside the buildings and just kind of hanging out inside of different hallways and inside of different large spaces. And one of the things that was that I wanted to try to add to this game was, as I dial in the enemy AI, the bandits, I wanted to try to remove some of the zombie spawning systems during the day, so that more zombies are inside. With this, though, I need really responsive AI on the inside, where they are actually listening to the player, and they will actually wake up appropriately and exit the building. And so something I've been working on is trying to improve this information, so that when noise is detected, they will actually wake up and come out of the different buildings. So let's see if this can provide a good demo here. We're certainly getting a lot affected down below. But as you can see, I think it's also kind of a pathing issue with a lot of these guys on the inside. I believe their code is kind of set up in a way that it's waiting for the player to enter an interior to understand where the nav mesh is, or how to actually travel to the player. So I'm still working on this system to see if I can have these guys actually running out of the buildings and flooding into the streetways. But the future hope is that if you're walking down a streetway and all of a sudden an explosion happens, that you can expect that the enemies come pouring out from both sides, kind of concept. I've also improved the stealth system. So before, there was an issue, as a few people reported, with the enemy AI detecting the player way too easily, and they were having a problem with the detection for stealth when crouched. I tried to improve this, so as I'm dialing forward the actual noise detection systems, this one's kind of difficult to progress, and so what I've been trying to do is slowly dial that back, so that we keep and maintain some of the improved noise systems, but then also are able to complete stealth missions. So I do want those to be able to come back, so I am actively working on that as well. One of the additional systems that I worked on was the overall damage system for the melee, and through the configs. So as you can see, the ragdoll systems and everything, I'm continuing to dial in. The actual damage systems and the wound systems I'm also looking at and how we can basically continue to attack the enemies with our weapons. We're not dealing with bullet sponges. We actually have good responsive weapons so that those feel natural and good to the player, but then also bring in that difficulty. So obviously, in this case, you'll have a very large amount of zombies to contend with, and so it'll be a little bit harder to be able to take out large groups. But if you can go into like a back alley area, you should be able to actually go and deal with these guys one at a time or in groups if you plan accordingly. I want the weapon systems to continue to dial forward so that people feel like the weapon systems are actually rewarding, and I'm continuing to work on the AI systems for the humans so that they're also able to clear areas. I thought it was fairly unrealistic that these peacekeepers would have weapons along with the survivors that wouldn't allow them to contend with this enemy AI system, and so I'm continuing to improve that as we go. One of the features that I never directly talked about, but one of the things that I'll mention here is we have a pretty good example. I have added random scale values to our enemies along with random damage modifiers. So the idea here is that you'll have larger enemies coming after you, and even though they're the same model, I can't do much about the actual models themselves as I'm limited by those, but actually adding new details of damage and also trying to make their scale different is something that I am trying to achieve. I have also fixed the toxic and chemical effects. So there was a glitch before where toxic and chemical enemies would no longer damage the player. So I have addressed this, so you should have fairly responsive enemies. If they do have toxin or chemicals on them, those should actually affect the player accordingly. Also, one of the things that I looked at was a system that was telling the human AI to hyper-focus on the player. This was super frustrating for those different gang events where basically you would have zombies down below and they would be looking up at you and throwing weapons at you even though they were getting surrounded and swarmed by zombies. It never made a lot of sense to me, so something I specifically went after, and I was able to find that system. Please let me know your feedback. Let me know if that system is working well for you. If they're still hyper-focusing the player, that should be cleared up, but continue to let me know what you're seeing from your gameplay. Lastly, the final system that I'll mention is that the AI biters have also, along with some of the other special infected, have increases on their damage. This is to try to make this concept of, as I'm running through the city, I need to keep moving. If I get down into the streets and I am surrounded by zombies, there's a much higher probability that that will end badly. And so the idea is that you keep running and you don't stop running. And if you do get overrun, try to fight your way out the best you can. But if you do get caught in a swarm of zombies, you are more than likely to get grabbed and or killed fairly quickly. So those systems should work pretty strongly, and I've also tried to make that more random so that it doesn't feel like you just immediately get one hit and you're dead. So that way that system can act a little bit more realistically. Obviously, one hit shouldn't always count the same. So I think that summarizes the gameplay. I know that was a lot of content. I appreciate you guys watching. One of the other videos I will be making shortly is for these systems, for the config system and how to actually create your own configurations, create your own densities. I'm going to try to record that video briefly after this one, but I did want you guys to know the update, and I cannot wait for you guys to get this new version and give me your feedback on how this feels in the new environment of Dying Light 2. Thank you guys for watching. This is version 0.8 of I Am Legion Reborn, Ultimate Survivor Edition, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Please come join the Discord community. Please become active in the modding discussion. Let's try to make this game a little bit better. Thanks, guys.